Alright, we're looking here today at the Allan 52G. So this is a Allan Longprimer KJV reference Bible in dark green Meriva calfskin, leather lined. So I wanted to show this Bible, show some of its features, and I want to say that I really think it's possible in looking at this Bible that this is about as close to what I would consider a perfect Bible to be, which is interesting. I mean, I just have to say that at the end of the day, there are a lot of things about this that to me are just right in that sweet spot, and I really wish that there were more translations available that were produced just like this, so I want to show you that. And there are three areas where I would say this really is pretty spot on, pretty much the way I would want a Bible to be. First is the size. Now I know on a video you can't really see the size, so I will just tell you what the dimensions are. I'll show them to you here and kind of show you that holding this in the hand, it's very easy to hold, and it doesn't feel too heavy. Some Bibles, they just have kind of a bulky feel to them, but this one, it's a good size, and I don't want a Bible to be too big, but I also don't want it to be too small. I like to be able to put, you know, like a half sheet of paper, and this kind of gives you an example of a half sheet of paper that fits right in the Bible there. Also big enough for the font size to be a good size. And this is right around a 10-11 point kind of size font. So the size of the Bible is good. You can still hold it in one hand pretty well, and it is a pretty firm cover. It's not stiff by any stretch, but it's not too floppy either. So I would say the size and just kind of the firmness of the cover is right in that sweet spot for me. Big enough to be good and readable, and I don't know, just easy to use, and yet not so big that it feels heavy and it's hard to carry around. Another thing that makes this such a good Bible in my opinion is the layout, and I really love this layout. I've talked about this before, and I know a lot of you Bible lovers agree. If you're kind of more of a traditionalist, you like the verse by verse format. Now this is a King James version, so the verse by verse is very common. It's a very common format. It does have paragraph markers here. In many places in the Bible it does have paragraph markers, these pilcrows. But it's not a paragraph setting. Now when you get into the poetic books, like Psalms here, you don't see a poetic setting. So that would be maybe one area where, you know, I might like that a little bit better. The New King James a lot of times will have verse by verse and a poetic setting for things like the Psalms. So this is a good format, good layout in my opinion. Not exactly perfect, but you know, when you look at the font size here, like I said, 10-11 point, verse by verse. I like these center column references. I still think that looks so classic. I really like the look of that. So for me, I like this layout. It's about as good as I could ask for. Again, it would be nice if other translations had a layout a lot like that. And then finally, I would say this Bible is really in the sweet spot because of its materials and the look of it. And that's just a personal preference thing. I know we can have a lot of disagreement about, you know, what you would consider a really good looking Bible, what kind of materials you prefer. This is Meriva calfskin, and it has more of a smooth feel to it. Some may not even like it. I think I heard one reviewer say it has even more of a maybe a plastic or synthetic feel to it. I don't know that I would agree with that, but I do think it is a very smooth feel compared to something like a Highland goat skin or certain types of leather that just have a very leathery feel. But when you look at these materials here and the look of it, I mean, it's just, there are some Bibles when you see them online and then you hold them in your hand, you just see kind of like, okay, what I saw online is not exactly what it is when I have it in my hand. Whereas this one, I would say the pictures that you see really do match the look of it. It really has a beautiful look. I love, this is an Allan Bible, so it's got tooled lines and a nice generous yap here, the overhang, and it's just the right amount for me. I know some people love a huge yap, a full yap, that just totally covers the Bible. Some people like little yap and they just, you know, like maybe the perimeter stitching. I kind of like that too, but if I'm gonna have a yap, this is about right for me. The stamping on this kind of leather, I think, just comes out so crisply and beautifully, and you can see that on the spine here too. It's got these tooled ribs on the spine. Then we have 3 ribbons, and again, the color scheme of this for me is just absolutely gorgeous. When I look at this green, it's just a dark, maybe forest green kind of a color. I'm not great with colors. But then these light green ribbons. The inside liner here is a navy blue liner, and it is real leather. And then with the gold line, and then the green cover on the top here, it just looks really, really good. So I love the color scheme. Then you've got the gold on the sides of the pages. You open it up, and you've got the red under gold with the navy blue liner, light green ribbons. That just looks amazing. So again, when you look at the size, the layout, the materials, and the way that this was crafted, I mean, you're looking at something that's pretty close to perfect. One other thing that I forgot to mention is the paper itself. And again, you can't tell from pictures, but I will say that, yes, this paper is really nice. It's opaque. I think it's 36 GSM. So it's got some heft to it. It's not too thin, but it's also, again, not too bulky. But boy, I'll tell you, the feel of this paper is my favorite. It's of all the paper that I've had, I think this is my favorite paper. So I don't know if all the Longprimers are exactly like this, but I have to say that for me, this paper, it has a smooth feel to it, but not like too glossy of a feel. Kind of a good comparison is, I know it sounds funny, but ping pong balls. If they're cheap plastic, then they can just kind of have like this really, really super smooth feel, kind of a shiny feel to it. Whereas this does not have that. It's really kind of a matte finish. It's opaque, and it's smooth, but has some texture to it. So it's hard to describe. I'll just say it is excellent paper. Again, has just the right amount of heft, in my opinion. So this is pretty much what I would say is a perfect Bible in terms of its size, layout, and materials, and the way it's put together. So if we could get some other translations from Allan to be done just like this, that would be awesome. Thank you so much for watching a look at this Allan 52G Longprimer from a Frisch perspective.